Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at GameStop once again, going to go through some technical analysis and to see if we can figure out what the price is going to do next week. I know a lot of the technical analysis is relevant in the long term because of the underlying I'll say fundamentals with the stock, with the massive amount of naked shorting, which is affecting the price, and then the downward pressure from the hedge funds. But the technical analysis can give a good short-term signal where other retail investors and even institutional investors might invest, which will bump up the share price in the short term. But before we get into that, I just want to say thanks for clicking on the video. Give it a like once you've watched it, and if you like what you've heard. Really been had a lot of support over my last few videos. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy support. Had the most likes ever on a video, 130 likes to 2 dislikes, so that's 132 people who took their time to give me feedback, which really means a lot. I mean, 2,000 people watched it, and people gave their feedback, so I just want to say thanks for that. Whether it's good or bad, negative or positive, it doesn't matter to me. It's just showing that people are caring about my videos, which is really, really good. But this isn't enough about me being soppy over my videos. Let's get into some breakdown of what we think could happen over next week. So you see we have GameStop here, and this is the year, the year chart zoomed in a little bit, and we've identified some areas of resistance and support. So you can see obviously we have the main line of resistance here, which was the 480 price, which GameStop got to in the initial squeeze. Then we have the 350 line here that GameStop has touched upon twice on two separate occasions, once in March and then the second time in June. And then on the other side we have a couple of lines of support. The main one, which has been tested twice and held, is this one around about 139. If GameStop gets there and hits around it, I would expect it to probably bounce back up in the short term, because this has been a key buying point for many investors. You can see here it went from 140 back up to 180 in relatively short time, and then again here in May it went up to, before the 350 bounce, even got up to 190 again in about a 2 week span. So if it does hit that line, expect some very big price movement, because of, and then on the other side, if it doesn't, the next big movement here could be this 120 movement, which isn't really a line of support, but I do want to indicate it. And if it does break below there, then the last time we've hit this is really about this line of 100. So if the stock does not jump up immediately from that 140 line, we could probably expect a good movement in the upside. But obviously, once again, the lines of support here haven't been touched too often past that 140 mark. So this has been a good line of support in the past, but if it breaks below that, it could be very interesting. Two things we just want to quickly go through here. We've got some indicators, which I like looking at, which found some pretty good price movement last week. So we have the MACD here, and currently you can see that we have the MACD line and the signal line, and it's a bit on the negative end. So this is two exponential moving averages, and they're taken away from each other, which gives you the MACD line. And you can see right now we have the signal line above the MACD line, and on the histogram we have a red. So this has been happening for quite long periods of time. We did go into a positive line on the histogram, where the MACD line was above the signal line, but this was only for a couple of days. We did see that again in May, at the back end of April and May, before the 350 shoot up. So expect probably the price slowing to decrease, and then maybe have some positive bullish movement again. But this has been quite all over the place, with a few massive spikes and then being pretty on the red with obviously the downward pressure throughout. So MACD isn't really showing anything too strong at the minute. We haven't seen it this low before either. The price has been declining for quite a while, so definitely something to look at. And my last identifier that I just want to quickly go through here is the RSI, which is relative strength. I was going to say indicator, but the relative strength index. And what this shows is that currently GameStop is in the oversold region. And what is this? Well, this is it's a momentum indicator. It goes from 0 to 100. It's an oscillator. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And this is a magnitude of recent price changes to evaluate whether it's overbought or oversold in terms of the price of the stock. So you can see here when the asset is above 70, that's considered overbought. This is done in terms of a few places around about here, and then it did continue to increase, but then bang, shot back down to the median line, and then again once here in the other 350, and obviously again once on the original move from around $17 a share all the way up to, sorry, I've got the wrong place, 450. So these were the upsides, but you can see it's on a decreasing line. The only time we have not actually been this low before, we have to go back to March of 2020, where we have undersold, the stock being as oversold as it is, and this was when it was, well, I can't really see on the zoom, but I would have guessed around about $3 a share, which was when I was originally looking at GameStop. I wish I had more DD and found DFV's YouTube channel a lot earlier on, because I was looking at GameStop back then. I was looking at it for options plays, but didn't really know enough about the stock to get involved at that time. But that's where we've been seeing the sort of levels of overselling or underbought. So expect probably some big movements again, because we haven't seen it at this levels in a while, or we haven't seen this at this level since the initial squeeze, and we haven't seen it since March 2020. So that is definitely one of the key indicators, I would say, to some positive price increase. And as I said before, if this goes up, expect sort of similar movements to what we've seen here. I suppose we've got a little bit of time. I just want to bring up some moving averages quickly, just because we can quickly bring them on. It's not going to be the best because I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. But you can see here that we have a moving average, and if I just bring up the settings here, I can't move this just to save us some time. So that's currently on a 9-day moving average. I'll go through the main ones. 9-day, we're actually trading below the 9-day moving average, so it's acting as a bit of a resistance. But the ones I like to look at normally are the 50-day. Now we are massively below the 50-day, which is very bearish signs. 100-day, bearish again, but quite positively on the 200-day, we are above it. So this could be a, oops, sorry, I did not click to save the settings there. That is my fault. No worries, trading view. But you can see here this 200-day could be a line of resistance. So we're really coming to a point here. If that goes below the 200-day, probably expect another big sell-off, because there'll be a lot of people who will use that technical indicator to sell the stock, whether they're retail or institutional. So expect maybe some pretty a big drop in stock price with people selling, just because of normal traders getting out of their position. Right guys, just want to say thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed the video. Bit different here, just thought I'd bring some TA for a Sunday. See what we're doing next week. There's not really too much DD. I'm sure that'll kick off once market opens and we see some craziness on Monday. Right guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.